Welcome to episode 3 of In His Bag. We got an interesting episode today with some hot takes as well, so let's get right into it. Cue the intro music.
Tedeschi dentro sotto per Dybala, attenzione, va la gioia, Dybala! Oh God! Stokely down the sideline! Can they catch him? Stokely! Wow!
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
Okay, welcome to In His Bag. As I said during the intro, it's going to be an interesting episode today, but before we get into the main topic, we got to tackle the news as always. So, the first piece of news, most pressing piece of news, came out today. Chris Paul is retiring from the NBA after 21 seasons. This is the start of the end for this generation of players. I hate to say it. Chris Paul is an absolute legend. He was, from his start with, I believe it was the Charlotte Hornets, or the New Orleans Hornets, before he was there. He was amazing there. Young Chris Paul was so much fun to watch before he went to the Clippers, Lob City. That entire era was phenomenal as well. I had a great time with that, even though they did have a bit of a tumultuous breakup. And then Houston, he revitalized. The Thunder helped Shea along his development as well. Chris Paul is just an absolute legend of the game. And like I said, this marks the beginning of the end of this era. Chris Paul is the first domino to fall. In the next years, we're going to watch the dominoes of LeBron, KD, Steph, Harden, Russ. We're going to watch those dominoes fall eventually. And I am not exactly happy to be talking about that right now, but that is bound to happen. And then when you look at Chris Paul's accolades here, I'm just going to list them off. 12-time All-Star, 5-time assist champion, 6-time steals champion, 11-time All-NBA. He was 9-time All-Defensive Team, 75th anniversary team. He was just an incredible player. A lot of people now, they just say, oh, he's washed. He wasn't good. He didn't score in large quantities. People don't know about Chris Paul. It wasn't rookie Chris Paul in 2007-2008 when he was with the New Orleans Hornets. He was second in MVP voting. 21.1 points, 11.6 assists, 2.7 steals. He was honestly an amazing player to watch. It was phenomenal on all fronts. So it's tough to say goodbye, but this year there were signs this year, definitely, and also last year as well. He did play every single game with the Spurs last season, but he only averaged 8.8 points. He was clearly taking a step down, and then this year things kind of fell apart. I hate to say, with the Clippers, only 2.9 points. There was the whole issue that he wasn't great in the locker room, and then they told him that he could go home or that he was waived. And then he was traded to the Raptors. The Raptors said he didn't have to report to the Raptors. So this season was supposed to be his farewell tour, but it turned out honestly rougher than Paul Pierce's farewell tour, which was one of the worst in NBA history. So salute to Chris Paul. Absolutely phenomenal player. Absolutely incredible player. Honestly, in my opinion, that's the number 3 point guard all time. It's Magic, it's Steph, it's Chris Paul. So he's right there. I don't care that he doesn't have a ring or an MVP. He's right there, number 3. So salute to Chris Paul. And then after that, we'll go over to the NFL. And fresh off a Super Bowl appearance, New England Patriots wide receiver Stephon Diggs has pleaded not guilty to felony strangulation charges, along with others that arose from a dispute with his chef. I'm not going to get too deep into all of the details in this because of A, just some privacy. B, I don't necessarily enjoy talking about law and civil cases and the implications for that in general. So I'm just going to put this out there that he has pled not guilty. I don't know if the NFL is going to take any actions against him, suspend him, but it we'll just have to see how this whole situation plays out. After that, the other major news from recent was that Trinidad Chambliss, the Ole Miss quarterback, has been granted a 6th season of eligibility by a state court judge in Mississippi. He was suing the NCAA to gain another year of eligibility because he was in JUCO and he wanted to come back. So he received an injunction which paves the path for him to play in 2026 after the NCAA ruled that he was out of eligibility. However, the NCAA can still appeal this, and there is a whole process, legislative process for that, and judicial process for that they're going to have to go through if the NCAA decides to appeal. But that could also take a while, as a lot of judicial issues and appeals, especially within the world of sports, it's common there. So for Chambliss, this is actually something that I've been discussing. I've discussed it in a couple classes, the issue of eligibility. Honestly, 6th season of eligibility is a bit much for me. I believe that athletes should get 5 years of eligibility. That includes junior college. If you went to JUCO for 2 years, you only get 3 more years in college. If you get to college as a freshman, you redshirt freshman, you only get 4 more years. If you play and then you get injured a year, you still only get 5 years. That way you don't have players who are like 26 or something coming in and playing against kids who are like 17, 18 years old. So this is a whole issue that the NCAA is going to have to figure out how to deal with. Diego Pavia also, his case set a precedent for players getting more eligibility. This also does that as well. So it's a whole issue that's going to have to be settled with the NCAA in the coming years. So there's that. And then when you're looking at a football perspective for Ole Miss, this is good for them. Trinidad Chambliss, if you watched the college football playoffs and honestly the entire season last year, Trinidad Chambliss was playing phenomenal football. I honestly started rooting for Ole Miss. Apart from my fandom for Ohio State, I started rooting for Ole Miss to honestly make it to the finals. The way Chambliss was playing was just so entertaining to watch. I just couldn't stop. The Georgia game was absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't get enough of that. So for an Ole Miss team, this is a great move for them, and then a great thing. And then after that, we got Jeremy Sohan. He was released. He was waived by the Spurs and plans to sign with the New York Knicks after he clears waivers. He was released on Wednesday and had interest from 10 suitors. honestly, this is a nice move for the Knicks. I like this a lot. They brought in Jose Alvarado, as I've mentioned a couple times already on the show, but this move gives them some more length, some more size, which is something that they're kind of lacking right now. I believe he scored around 10 points per game. So he can provide a nice bench piece for them. He was in the Rising Stars game his rookie and sophomore season. This season, he is averaging only 4.1 points, but on his career, he's averaging 10 points, 5.6 rebounds. So it's a good pickup for the Knicks. He's a 6'8" player, and he's young too. He's only 22 years old. So this brings up youth and size for the Knicks, which they have honestly been lacking overall under Mike Brown. So there's that. Continuing on with the theme of the San Antonio Spurs, De'Aaron Fox has been named to the All-Star game this season. It's his second All-Star selection. He's replacing one Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this is a nice pickup. This is a nice selection for De'Aaron Fox. Honestly, there have been a lot of injury replacements, which isn't exactly something that I love to see. Steph is missing the game. Giannis is missing the game as well. And then, which is unfortunate, but De'Aaron Fox has been more or less deserving of it this season, averaging 19.4 points on 55% effective field goal percentage. So he's a deserving player this year, and I really like the way that he plays. His pairing up with Wemby is very nice. On top of that, he meets the game requirement or game requirement. There is no game requirement, but he's played in 45 games this season, so you can't exactly say that, oh, he's been missing time. He hasn't been playing games. No, he's been playing. He's been producing as well. So this is a nice All-Star selection for him. And then the final bit of news is that Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for the season with a growth in his left knee. I don't want to accuse the Jazz of tanking, but I low key am. It just seems very convenient to me that they pulled all of their starters in the fourth quarter when they were winning the game a couple nights ago, and then now it comes out Jaren Jackson Jr. has a growth in his left knee and will miss time. So something's not adding up here. I know that Danny Ainge, the Utah Jazz, are trying to get a top 5 pick in what is a loaded draft class. Some of those players playing upcoming this weekend. I'll preview that later. But it just seems convenient to me. I don't like the way that the NBA is headed. And honestly, I'll go on a tangent here and talk about tanking with the NBA. I don't like the way things are looking right now. A lot of teams aren't outright tanking, but they're kind of subtly tanking for picks. Jaren Jackson Jr., Utah Jazz, an example. When the Jazz pulled, or no, when the Mavs pulled Luka Doncic a couple seasons ago when they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs, and they were just like, we'll pull him, see what pick we get, if it's any good. There was that. And then you just have the entirety of March basketball that just doesn't, post All-Star break basketball just doesn't matter in the NBA anymore. Because people know that the teams in the playoffs are pretty much going to stay the way they are. That's not going to change. And then the bottom teams, well, they won't come out and say they're actively trying to lose, but they're trying to lose. So it's just an issue that the NBA and Adam Silver has to address to some capacity. I don't know if he has to come down with an iron foot like David Stern would and start finding teams or creating rules, taking draft picks, something like that. But it is something that has to be addressed in the NBA overall. But that is all the major news that has happened. Now it is time to look at the standings and see where all of these teams stand at this point. We're going to start off with the NBA. They're going into the All-Star break. So let's look at where everyone stands at this point in the season. In the East, the Detroit Pistons are 14-3. They're riding a 3-game win streak. They're at the 1 seed right now, and they're followed by the Celtics and the Knicks, who are separated by only half a game. They've been going back and forth. Celtics, a surprise team this year. So there is that. Charlotte Hornets continuing to climb. They're in the 9 seed right now. I will talk about all of these rankings as well later in the episode with the power rankings of the NBA teams, but that is how the Eastern Conference stands right now. Over in the Western Conference, Oklahoma City Thunder sitting on the 1 seed at 42-14. They haven't exactly been playing well, and the Spurs are hot on their heels, only 3 games behind them. They're riding a 6-game winning streak. And then at the bottom of the East of the Western Conference, you don't have the Utah Jazz. You have the Sacramento Kings riding a wave of trash to a 14-game losing streak. So not exactly great. But again, I will talk about that when I power rank these teams later on. And then we'll go over to college hoops and we'll look at the rankings right now. As it stands right now, this is what it looks like. Arizona at the 1 seed, followed by Michigan, Houston, Duke, and Iowa State. There are a couple of great games coming up as well with this that I will preview later. And then you have Texas Tech in there. You have Gonzaga, UNC up 3 spots, Kentucky making an appearance. So those are the rankings in college basketball. And then we'll go across the pond. We'll go over, look at Europe and European soccer. We'll start with the Serie A as it stands right now. Inter, 5 points ahead of their intercity rivals, Milan. And then their top 4 is rounded up by Napoli and Juventus. So there are a couple of good games that'll happen this week. I'll preview that when I look at all the games. But some major implications that'll happen with those, honestly, the top 5 teams, because Roma is tied with Juventus on points, but Juventus has the advantage on goal differential of a +6. And then we'll look at the Premier League with Arsenal 4 points clear of City, and then they're followed up by Aston Villa and Manchester United. Chelsea is also right there. So is Liverpool. So all of those teams have a chance to get that Champions League bid. It'll be interesting to see how those teams play out. They're only separated by 3 points, which is essentially just a game. And there are 12 games left to play in the season, so a lot can happen in there. That's 36 points in play. So anything could change with that. And then the final league that we'll look at Spanish La Liga, and it as it's been since this show has started. Barcelona and Real Madrid 1 and 2, separated by 1 point. Barcelona is at 58, Real is at 57. Atletico Madrid is 12 points behind with 45, and Villarreal is tied with them. So that's all the news. Those are all the NBA all the standings in general. But enough of that. Let's get to what everyone came to. Let's get to the main topic of the episode. Welcome to the main topic of the episode, where I'm going to be power ranking all 30 NBA teams. This should honestly bring up some interesting discourse, also some nasty discourse as well. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to look first at this bottom tier of teams right here, this bottom 7. Instantly, the first ones that come to mind are the Pelicans, the Pacers, the Nets, the Kings, the Jazz, and the Wizards. So honestly, I think I gotta go with the Kings right now as the last team. They have by far the worst record in the league. They're 12-44 right now. They didn't make any impactful moves at the trade deadline. I believe the only thing they did was get rid of Keon Ellis, which was one of the young players. But other than that, they didn't move off Sabonis, Levine, or DeRozan. They kept all of them, which is not exactly a recipe for success. On top of that, they got blown out by the Pelicans by 24 points the other night, which isn't exactly what you want to see. So they have been struggling a lot. The one upside is that they do have control of their first round pick this year, which is at this point almost guaranteed a top five. And when you look, I've been saying this for weeks. When you look at this draft class, the amount of talent that is there, AJ DeBonsa, Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, it's insane. So the one bright side that the Kings have is that they are close to securing a top five pick and one of those players that right now projects to be a generational prospect and player. The next team, so I don't know who to put here. I I'm leaning towards the Pelicans right now, but they did just beat the Kings a couple nights ago. There's the Pacers too, who have been absolutely disgusting. So I think I'm gonna go with the Pacers as the next team. They always come with the caveat that they don't have Tyrese Halliburton, their top 10 guard. So as it stands right now, they're 15-40. They're sitting second to last in the East, only above the Wizards. But the reason I have the Pacers behind the Wizards is that the Wizards have young talent on that roster that can play. Like I won't deny it or get around it in any way. The Wizards have young talent that can play. The Pacers, on the other hand, they traded for Ivica Zubac. Don't expect him to play anytime soon in any capacity. They are going to continue to tank and aim for a top five pick this year with Halliburton out. And in that trade, they got rid of Benedict Mathurin, who was their lottery pick, who was supposed to be their young scorer, bring a punch not off the bench as he has been, but in the starting lineup. And he hasn't done that, so they shipped him out. He was now on the Clippers. So the Pacers have just been a horrible watch on top of that. And it's not fun to watch at all. In their last 10 games, they, I believe, post a 500 record, which isn't horrible, but they're just nasty to watch. I can't stand watching them. And then after that, it's interesting. The Wizards, the Pelicans, the Nets are right there. I'm I'm gonna go with the Pelicans, honestly. It is nasty work to watch this team, and I can't stand watching them. Even though they did beat the Kings, that's not saying much. The Kings are absolutely abysmal, and the Pelicans are still 15-41, which is disgusting. They have more losses than the Pacers at this point in the season, and they're a tough watch. They do have some nice players, some young players, but when you take into account Zion is never going to be healthy, the disaster of what they've done, they're like the Pacers, they're 5-5 in their last 10. It's just horrible to watch the Pelicans overall as a team. They're a minus 5.8 point differential, which isn't horrible, but it's still bad when you compare it to some of the other teams. And honestly, there is a debate for them to be higher. They don't have the worst point differential out of all of these teams, but I can't stand to watch them. They didn't make any moves over the trade deadline to either sell and try and get closer to try and guarantee more of a top 5 pick, or bring in talent. They got rid of Jose Alvarado, which is pretty much all they can say at this point. So I am not a huge fan of the Pelicans and what they bring. After the Pelicans at 27, I want to put the Nets. Brooklyn is another nasty, nasty team. I have I can't stand to watch them. Actually, Brooklyn, you are getting a promotion. Congratulations. You are going to 26. You are being replaced by the team in the nation's capital, the Washington Wizards. That they are nastier. I am sorry. They have the worst record in the East. They have a minus 10.9 point differential, which is the worst in the NBA. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They made some trades. They brought in AD. They brought in Trae Young. Don't expect either of them to play ever the rest of this season. I'll just leave it at that. It's clear that they're tanking as well. They rested 4 of their 5 starters against the Pistons in the fourth quarter. So they're clearly going for a top 5 pick. And the way it's looking, the way things are shaking out, that will most likely happen at this point. The only thing is whether or not they'll be able to do anything with the top 5 pick. So I'm just glazing over these bottom teams. There's not a whole lot to say about them in general. It's just nasty discourse that I'm refusing to partake in. And then we'll go to the Brooklyn Nets. They get the honor of being 26th in the NBA. As it stands right now, they are 15-38, separating themselves as one of the worst teams in the league. Congratulations. You have the honor of being a bottom 5 team. In their last 10 games, they are a woeful 3-7. Their one ray of sunshine is Michael Porter Jr., and I think that is the only context anyone has ever called Michael Porter Jr. a ray of sunshine. They waived Cam Thomas. He's now on the Bucks. That's a whole different conversation for another day. I will save that for later when I talk about the Bucks. They got rid of Cam Thomas. He has said some crazy stuff about that as well. So I am just going to skip over that entirely. After that, we have a couple of options here, but the clear choice is the Utah Jazz. As I mentioned in the breaking news, they are going to be without Jaren Jackson Jr. for the rest of the season as he undergoes surgery. Right now, they're 18-37. In their last 10, like the Nets, they are 3-7. So they are gunning for a top 5 pick at the moment. If you tuned in, they pulled everyone in the fourth quarter of one of their recent games that raised some crazy discourse about how teams are blatantly tanking for a pick, and the Utah Jazz clearly were, because there's no way you pull out Jaren Jackson Jr., Lowry Marketing, Walker Kessler, and Keontae George when you're up in the fourth quarter. Why are you doing that? Unless there's some secret motive, which we all know is getting a top 5 pick in the draft. So they deserve to be down there. After that, I think those 6 teams are essentially a tier of their own in the depths of the dumpster of the NBA. After that, I think we enter into teams like the eternal mid of the Bulls and the Hawks. I think you have to enter the Bucks into that conversation as well. The Mavericks too, and the Grizzlies at this point. And probably also the Clippers to some capacity. I'm honestly, the way I look at it is the Mavericks. Ugh, I don't know, because Cooper Flag has been absolutely balling out, and I love watching him play. But the Mavericks have not been playing well, I'm going to be honest. As it stands right now, they're 19-34. Their last 10 is not great. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They're on an 8-game losing streak. They've lost. It's disgusting work. Their one ray of sunshine is Cooper Flag, who is living up to all of the hype. He's going to be a superstar in this league. I talked about the battle between him and Khan that happened a couple weeks ago. That was absolutely legendary, and I think that cemented his trajectory. He's going to win Rookie of the Year for sure. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But outside of him, it's not great. The Mavs got rid of AD. They just shipped him out the door to the dumpster fire of the Wizards. So they're completely moving off of Nico Harrison's vision of what he wanted. But outside of that, D'Angelo Russell, I believe he was traded. He does not have to report to the Raptors either, so there's that as well. They've made some questionable moves, and they have not been playing great as of late. I can't say I hate watching them because they have Cooper Flag, and he is tremendously entertaining, and I love it. But outside of that, it sucks. And then we're gonna follow that up. Ooh, that Memphis Grizzlies is calling to me right now. I hate doing this, but the Memphis Grizzlies are calling my name right now. That's the next team right there, 23, I believe. The Memphis Grizzlies. They're 20-33 right now. They're not horrible, but they're 2-8 in their last 10. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Like I mentioned, they shipped out Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz. They got rid of a bunch of players along with him. I think it was Jaren Jackson Jr., John Conchar, Jock Lawndale, who was a productive player. I liked him too, and Vince Williams. And the players that they got in return isn't exactly win now. I guess you got Slomo, Taylor Hendricks, Georges Niang, Walter Clayton Jr. So the roster isn't great. When you build on the fact that John Morant is injured and always is, no matter what, and when he is there, he is somehow always complaining about something or other, you have to take that into account. So there's not a whole lot to like about the Grizzlies. Also, at this point, they're in the lottery, so they have a chance. But like I've been talking about, those bottom five teams are essentially lock for the top five picks. So I don't know exactly what the Grizzlies are going to do. They have been compiling picks. They got three future first round picks at the deadline in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. But outside of that, there's not a lot of positives with that team in general. So they go to 23. After that, all the rest of the teams in the West, I feel like are better than the East. I know I mentioned the Clippers in this tier, but I think the Clippers are better than the teams in the East. Like right now, what's coming to mind are the Bucks, the Bulls, and the Hawks kind of clumped together. They all have similar records, I believe. So it's kind of difficult. I don't. I'm putting the Bucks next. I know some people are going to get mad at me for that, but honestly, when you take into account everything that's happened with the Bucks, the whole Giannis trade saga of he's got to go, oh no he's got to stay, will he leave? He's open to being traded, not trading him on trade deadline. Their awful record without him. It's abysmal. When you look at the roster on top of that, which is disgusting, it's kind of hard to defend them. I'm checking here now. They're 22-30 overall. They're 4-6 in their last 10. It's hard to watch, honestly. And Giannis, I know he wants to play, and the Bucks don't really aren't planning to shut him down. But honestly, the way things are looking, they might. Like I mentioned, they brought in Cam Thomas as kind of a desperation move to show Giannis that, look at us, we're doing something, we're trying to win, we're making an effort to kind of improve the roster. Hooray, go us! But they're not going anywhere, and I can't stand watching them. So they're going right there, and then to continue building out this tier, I gotta put the Hawks. I think I was one of the many that had high hopes for the Hawks going into the season. Trae Young, Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, all the players that they brought in, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, they had potential. They were supposed to be good. They were supposed to be improved. This was supposed to be a top 6 team in the East. Right now, they are 10th. They have a 26-30 record. They are not good. They got rid of Trae Young. They got rid of Porzingis. They're relying on Jalen Johnson now. Dyson Daniel hasn't exactly been playing well. He doesn't know how to play on offense. It's not fun to watch. They brought in CJ McCollum. They brought in Jonathan Kuminga, which the Warriors exiled him to the depths of the bench. They brought in Buddy Hield. Like, you can't tell me there's reasoning behind any of this, except for the fact that, we're going to rely on Jalen Johnson. We're turning to him to be our future piece. Like, I get that. Okay, he's a good player. He has potential, but why? Like, no, you. There's so many better things you can do than that. The way things turned out after what everybody was saying at the start of the season, just so disappointing, and I hate to watch it. I hate to just say that the Hawks are disappointing me at all levels and that they're friggin' bottom 10 in the league. They're like 20th or something at this point. It's just nasty work. And then they're instantly followed up by the Bulls. Chicago Bulls, the team of eternal mid. They are going for the 41-41 record. As it stands right now, they are 7 games off of that. They are 24-31 right now. So they can only lose 10 more games, which I have an odd feeling they're going to lose a lot more games than that. They're 1-9 in their last 10, and they've lost 6 in a row. So they're going to lose a lot more than 10 games the rest of the season. They made a lot of moves at the trade deadline. I wouldn't exactly call them good moves. They shipped Kobe White to the Hornets. Ayo Dosunmu got moved to the Timberwolves via a bunch of trades. They sent Vucevic to the Celtics, so they had a lot of roster movement. I don't know exactly if I would call it good movement. It kind of just felt like movement for the sake of movement, but I can't exactly be thrilled with the movement in general. So the Bulls are there, and I don't have many thoughts. I can't watch them in general because you can't watch the Bulls in general unless you're paying for it in Chicago. They're never on national TV either. It's just I don't even know what to say about the Bulls right now. And then we'll follow that up with who do I go with here? Bull, I can't. Looking at it right now, this is tough. This is tough. Fudge. I think. Ah. I'm debating between the Clippers and the Trailblazers right now, and I'm not liking this debate at all. Oh, fudge. I think the Trailblazers are up next, honestly. They haven't been playing bad. They have an all-star in Denny, but their last 10 games they're 3-7. Right now, they're sitting right on the edge of the play-in. They're at 10th or 26-29 overall. So, not horrible. It's interesting to watch them. I'll say that Denny has an interesting play style, but I can't put them above the Clippers. I just can't. The way that and for the heck of it, we'll move the Clippers in and we'll fill out that bottom tier. The Clippers haven't been playing bad. I honestly like them. They're 6-4 in their last 10. So they're playing well. James Harden has had an incredible season. Honestly, should be an all-star over Brandon Ingram. I don't really care what anyone else says. Kawhi Leonard has had a career resurgence. He's been playing incredibly. They're only half a game ahead of the Trailblazers for the 9 seed in the West, so things could get dicey there. But the real questions about them are what is going to happen to the rest of them. Hold up. I said James Harden for the Clippers. I apologize. He is no longer on the Clippers. It completely flew past me. They have Darius Garland now. So That's going to be interesting to see what happens there and how Darius Garland plays. When they made that trade, I was really happy about it because I said he could set up Zubac. Zubac is now on the Pacers, who are sitting at 29th right now in these power rankings. So, not exactly a great turn of events there. And then you also have the looming investigation into Kawhi Leonard and his aspiration deal, which we'll see what happens there. So there's some interesting stuff surrounding the Clippers, but for now they're still above the Trailblazers, and that rounds out the bottom tier of my power rankings. Tiers kind of just honestly the lottery, 13 teams. Those bottom five are all gunning for the top pick right now. So that is how I'm going to round that out. After that, well, the way I'm looking at it now is the Warriors are there, the Hornets, the Heat, the Magic. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at those teams right now. So we'll. I don't know. It's tricky, and I don't like it. I wanna. I This pains me so much, but I'm putting the Warriors next. Steph Curry's missed time with a knee injury. He's missed the last 5 games. He's not playing in the All Star game. Jimmy Butler tore his ACL. As I mentioned, they shipped out Kaminga. They shipped out Buddy Hield, and they brought in Porzingis, which isn't exactly a life-altering move. Porzingis has only played in 17 games. Al Horford was supposed to be this amazing veteran. He does not play a lot. Draymond Green has taken a step back on defense. So what exactly are the Warriors celebrating? Brandon Pajemski and Will Richard? Like, it's not great to watch right now. They're 29 and 26, so they have a winning record. Congratulations. You're the 8th seed in the West. But your last 10, you've lost 4 of 6. You're not exactly playing phenomenal when you compare it to those other teams I mentioned, the Hornets, the Heat, and the Magic. So the Warriors are right there. They're right on the cusp. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they drop to like 9 or 10 if they get passed up by the Trailblazers or the Clippers later on in the season or in the playoffs, and in the play-in tournament if they just get bounced out and miss the playoffs entirely. After that, I'm going to turn my attention to the Hornets are playing so well right now. It's so hard for me to figure out what to do with them. I'm I don't know. I Right now the Heat for me belong right there, right above the Warriors. They're perfectly mid right now in the last 10, 5-5. Their record is also almost perfectly mid. They're 29 and 27. They are one of the 3 teams that didn't make a move at the deadline, joining along with the Rockets and the Spurs. They have the whole Terry Rozier thing looming over them. Norman Powell being an All-Star game. So they have that. That's good for them. Hooray. Outside of that, I don't know what else there is to like about them. Tyler Hero has missed time this season as well. So it's that. I will say they do have the 4th easiest schedule post All-Star break, so they could make a leap and try to get out of the play-in tournament, but right now they're sitting at 8th. And the way that the Hornets are playing right now, I I just love. I'm sorry, I can't get over the Hornets, and that is why the Orlando Magic are up next. I don't I don't care about what their seeding is right now. It's a 7 seed with a 28-25 record. There there is always, it seems like always, some questions surrounding Paolo and Franz. No matter what time of the season is, they sent Tyus Jones to the Hornets. Wagner came back against the Bucks the other night, and there's that. But I don't know. There's something about the Magic that always seems to stump me and throw me off to some capacity. I can't exactly place my finger on it, but it feels like whenever I start to root for them, or whenever I think they're starting to play well, they take some sort of step back or they struggle. Either Franz gets hurt, Paulo gets hurt, or maybe both, or they're playing together, but they're not playing well together, so they end up losing games. And that's why I have the Magic right there. So after that, I want to be extremely high on the Hornets, but I can't put them any higher than this. So the Charlotte Hornets are going right there. Honestly, they are a blast to watch. They are 9-1 in their last 10 games. They have been in an absolute tear. I will say they're 26-29, so they're sitting below the Heat and the Magic as it stands right now in the East. But Con Knipple is playing extremely well. If Cooper Flag didn't exist, he would be Rookie of the Year. Brandon Miller's playing well. There's no denying that. There's no getting around that. LaMelo is playing well as well. So there's a lot of positives going there. There is the caveat of their brawl is the only way to put it with the Pistons. Diabate and Miles Bridges are, I believe they're both suspended right now. So there is that. But I can't sing the praises of the Hornets enough. They are absolutely amazing to watch. And I believe that next season they'll be even better. And right now in the play-in, if they make it out of the play-in and they get to like a seven seed or something, and they face uh, a Knicks team that's somewhat flawed in my opinion, they might be able to take them out. So there is some high potential for that Hornets team, and I love watching them. It's a blast. After that, the teams that I feel like are clumped in the next tier or group of teams, I feel like is the Suns, the Lakers, the Sixers, the Timberwolves, and the Raptors. So my next team is honestly, this is tough. This is very tough. I'm going to put the 76ers here. 76ers have been playing well. I like the 76ers a lot. And Joel Embiid is playing well. He is made a comeback. Tyrese Maxey is, I've been saying ray of sunshine for some of these other teams. He's the NBA's ray of sunshine. I don't care what anyone says at this point. He's an all-star starter this year. He is incredible. Absolutely fantastic to watch right now. The 76ers are 30-24. They're the 6th seed. Surprise of the season right now because a lot of people didn't think they'd be doing this well. They're 6-4 in their last 10, so there's that as well. VJ Edgecombe also a lot of people did not know what to expect, but he's come out. He's a top three rookie right there. It's Con, Cooper Flag, VJ. It's those three right there. He's playing really well. So I like the Sixers. It pained me that they moved on from Jared McCain. I would have liked that. I would have liked to keep him, even though it's a bit tricky to play VJ, Maxey, and McCain. Just having a good shooter coming off the bench and McCain, like, that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing to have overall. So I would have liked if they kept him on the roster, but overall, the 76ers, great team right now. I'm going to follow that up. I'm looking at the teams right now. I want to put the Phoenix Suns next. Are not bad. They've been dropping as of late. They've lost They lost their last game. They're 5-5 in the last 10. However, they do have a good record, 32-23. Not bad. Not bad at all. They got Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey from Milwaukee in what was kind of a down or low level trade. So there's that. Devin Booker is Devin Booker. He will always play for the Phoenix Suns. Jalen Green has tendonism, hamstrings at this point. If you know, you know. If you've seen that TikTok, that perfectly describes Jalen Green's hamstrings falling off the bone at this point, because I don't know what the heck to say about that. But there's that. Jordan Knott is a very good head coach. I love Jordan Knott. You have Dylan Brooks as well. Dylan Brooks is playing great. Honestly, could have been in consideration for an all-star if we're being real here. Scoring like 24 points per game or something this season. So he's not bad. I like this Phoenix Suns team, but they're not breaking into those top teams, that top 11 right now for me. The first team that is breaking into that top 11 is the Lakers. A bit of a hot take, but not really. They're 32-21 right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10, so not horrible. They have lost their last 2 games, so there's that. Honestly, Austin Reeves has missed some time. They did make a trade for Luke Kennard at the deadline, which I like, bringing in a shooter to create some more space for Luka. Austin Reeves has come back. Maybe he'll be able to bring out the best of Ayton, which is not saying much because Ayton is abysmal to say the least. But when you have the upside of Luka, LeBron, and Reeves, there's a lot of potential there. But I can't bring myself to put them above these other teams and put them higher in my rankings. So my next team is going to be the Toronto Raptors as a top 10 team in the NBA. They're 32-23, so they don't have a better record than the Lakers, but they do have a higher seed in the respective conference. They're 5th in the East. They're 6-4 in their last 10. So there's that. They have a plus point differential compared to the Lakers minus 0.3, which is honestly not great. When you look at the West's top 8, they're the only team with a minus point differential. So, the Raptors. I like the Raptors. Scotty Barnes, I have been standing on this for so long. I remember beginning of last year, after the Summer Olympics, people were debating, who's going to be on the Olympic team? And people were bringing up people like Paolo and stuff. I'm like, Scotty Barnes is going to be on that team. People looked at me, they're like, what are you talking about? And then after the season, after last season, people were like, I told you Scotty Barnes was not good. I'm like, just wait. And this season, Scotty Barnes, you have proved me right. Thank you. I love watching Scotty Barnes play. I mentioned Brandon Ingram too. He is an all-star this year, replacing Steph Curry. So there's that as well. There is the caveat that they are 11 and 15 against teams with a winning record. So that's not exactly great. But when you look at the other end of that, against losing teams, they're handling business. They're 21 and 7 against teams with losing records. So I I like them a lot, and honestly, they're better. They're just better than the Lakers. I don't care about the Lakers' star power. They have a better overall roster than the Lakers. The Lakers are just they have their top three and then absolutely nothing else. So there's that, and then after that we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves right now are 34 and 22. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10. They brought in Ayo Dosunmu, which at the trade deadline, I was extremely happy about. It brings in another ball handler for Anthony Edwards. It takes some of the load off of him. You can't expect Anthony Edwards to do everything, and bringing in Ayo Dosunmu, who is a productive player, it takes some of that strain off of him, and I love it. It's fantastic. And then you add the fact they're bringing back Mike Conley, who isn't exactly a contributor, but he's a good presence. He's a good veteran presence that gives them something. So that is where I'm putting the Timberwolves. And now we're reaching the top 8. First team out, or first team in the top 8 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of people thought, oh, this is their year. This is the year they challenged the Thunder. The Celtics were hurt. People didn't think that the Knicks were going to be good enough. But it turns out the Cavaliers weren't good enough. It's true they're sitting fourth in the East. They're 9 and they've been on a surge as of late. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're on a 5-game win streak. They traded for Harden, who is playing extremely well. I said he should have been an all-star this year. But they have had their struggles. Evan Mobley has been called 18 and 8 because that is what he seems to produce on a nightly basis. So there's that. But overall, I like the Cavaliers. I like what they're bringing, how they're playing now, with giving James Harden more of the facilitator role while letting D. Mitch handle the scoring, kind of like what they did with what James Harden did with the Sixers, where he led the league in assists while Embiid kind of took over the scoring. So I like that for them. And then at 7, we're putting the Rockets. Honestly, the Rockets, it was interesting. I don't know what exactly to think about them. Sengun has been kind of up and down this season. He's been up and down this season. He was shooting well to start the season, and then he wasn't shooting well. So I think for Sengun to be good, he needs to be shooting. So you have that. You also traded for KD, so you need to have KD playing well. But it's interesting. The Rockets are an interesting team. I don't know exactly how to put it. And then after that, we're entering top 6. And when you look at it, there's only 2 ways to look at it. And it's between the Knicks and the Celtics. Pick your poison here. I'm putting the Celtics up next. They did trade for Vucevic, which I like. That's a great move for them. I really like that. Right now, they are sitting at the 2 seed in the East going into All-Star break. So they're above the Knicks in terms of standing. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Very nice. Can't argue with that. Jason Tatum, by some miracle, it's looking like he might actually return and play, which I don't understand how his body's able to do that, recover from an Achilles injury like that. But when you look, they've made players have made leaps on that team. Jordan Walsh has made a defensive leap. Brad Stevens is a genius for what he's done with that roster, but when you look at some of these other teams, when you look at the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks have some more depth, not a lot more, but just some. So I think the Knicks are at 5. The Knicks and the Celtics are honestly interchangeable to me. I mentioned the Knicks earlier when I talked about them bringing in Jeremy Sohan. So that's another move for them that I like, bringing in more depth. They brought in Jose Alvarado as well. They do have a small guard room. Jose Alvarado, Deuce McBride, and Jalen Brunson. They are small there. Cat hasn't exactly been playing phenomenal. I talked about that when I was going over the All-Star game. I believe he's scoring his lowest points per game since his rookie season. So Mike Brown hasn't exactly brought out the offense like a lot of people hoped he would. So there's that. But I think that those two teams are interchangeable right there. They've been interchangeable in the standings the entire season, but I'm just going with the Knicks based off of what we saw last season with the roster that they have. If they didn't face off against the Indiana Voodoo Magic, which is still cursing the city, by the way, then they would have been in the finals against the Thunder. After that, this is tough. I kind of this is very very West Coast of me. I want to put the Pistons at 3 or the Pistons at 4. I know they're the 1 seed in the East. I know they're the 1 seed in the East. I know they're 8-2 in their last 10. I know Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren are amazing, but I just can't bring myself to put them over those 3 aliens in the Western Conference. The West has been dominating as of late. They're the better conference by far, and I just can't bring myself to put the Pistons above that team. I talked about the fight with the Pistons. Isaiah Beef Stew has received a 7-game suspension for that, so there's that as well. They traded Jaden Ivey, which I wasn't that big of a fan of. I don't know. So for me, it's just my unableness to put them above those 3 monsters in the Western Conference. I'm putting the Nuggets at 3. Cam Johnson, Christian Braun, they've missed time. They haven't exactly been playing well. Jokic missed time too with a hyperextended knee. And as it stands right now, they're 5-5 in their last 10. So the Nuggets are there. I would have loved it if they signed Cam Thomas. I've been mentioning that for the past couple days since Cam Thomas was waived, since the Bucks picked him up. I would have loved if they brought him in, but you always have to put the Nuggets in the top 3 when they have Nikola Jokic. There's no getting around it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're just always going to be dangerous. They pushed the Thunder to 7 last year, when honestly the Thunder were better last year than they are now. So I really like the Nuggets. And then you have the Spurs, obviously at 2. Wemby, he put up, I think, like 40 points in 26 minutes the other night. It was mind-bending what he can do. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games. They've won 6 in a row. Stephon Castle is getting better. Dylan Harper is looking spectacular. There's just so many things that are going right with the Spurs at this point. You know what? Honestly, I'm putting the Spurs at 1. Thunder are going at 2. The Thunder, they have injuries right now. Chet was named to an All-Star game. So was Shea. But Shea is hurt. He injured his oblique. J-Dub has not exactly been playing well. Lou Dort hasn't exactly been sinking threes, and he hasn't been playing phenomenally. On top of that, the Spurs are closing the gap. They are only 3.5 games behind. The Thunder are 5-5 in their last 10 games. They haven't exactly been playing amazingly, and I just love what the Spurs are doing overall. So the Spurs get the number 1 seed in my power rankings. So those were my power rankings of all 30 teams in the NBA. We have the Spurs at the 1 seed, dethroning the Thunder, followed by the Nuggets, the Pistons, the Knicks, and the Celtics to round out the top 6. Following that second tier, you have the Rockets, the Cavs, the Timberwolves, the Raptors, Lakers, and then Suns, Sixers, Hornets, Magic, Heat, and Warriors. And then we get into the bottom tier of the league. You got the Clippers, the Blazers, the Bulls, the Hawks, the Bucks, and the Grizzlies. And then you get the dumpster fire of the Mavs, the Jazz, the Nets, the Wizards, the Pelicans, the Pacers, and the Kings. So this is bound to raise some discourse, but I don't care. I will stand by this till the end of time. We are going to start game time. The first game that we are going to play is we are going to guess as many college football teams as possible. Here we go. Cal, Stanford, San Jose, Fresno State, UCLA, USC, San Diego State, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, Washington State, Boise State, Wyoming, you got Nevada, UNLV, and then you got Utah State, you got BYU, you got Arizona State, Mexico State. You got Colorado State. And then you got Texas State, Texas Tech, North Texas. You got Houston, TCU, Baylor, UTSA, North Texas. I already guessed that. Did I say A&M? Texas A&M. You got Oklahoma State. You got Kansas State. And then you got Wisconsin. And then you got Nebraska, you got Kentucky, if I can spell that correctly, you got Michigan, you got Iowa State, yeah, Arkansas State, you got Missouri in that row of states as well. After that, we'll go Michigan State, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan. Why Michigan has so many teams, I don't know. You got Central Michigan too. Central Michigan. And then you got Ohio State. You got Akron. Bowling Green. Buffalo. You got Indiana. Purdue. Illinois. Ball State. Northern Illinois. Notre Dame. I'm pretty sure Wake Forest is up there too. And you got UMass, UConn. Oh, Cincinnati is up there as well. And then we are going to go. We're going to go Syracuse, Maryland, Penn State. You got Pitt. You got Northwestern. And then you got the Virginias, Virginia, West Virginia, Virginia Tech. And then who else are we? Oh, you got Rutgers in Jersey, Nebraska. Who else are we missing? We'll keep moving on. You got after the Virginias, you got UNC, you got Clemson. I'm pretty sure Duke is out there. You got South Carolina. You got NC State. You got Georgia's over there. You got Georgia Tech. Oh, Army, Navy, and Air Force. You got Hawaii. After that, you got. I want Georgia. You gotta go Florida, Florida State, Miami, USF, UCF, UCF in Central Florida, the same thing. Dingus, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi, Mississippi State, LSU, Vanderbilt, and then who else are we missing here? Appalachian State, we'll go Tulane, we'll go JMU, we'll go UL Monroe. I'm just going to start naming FS, or no, that's FAU. Who else? We're just going to name off teams here. It would be nice if Louisville, that's a team. It'd be nice if I could complete the SEC, Big Ten, and the ACC. Oh, SMU, that's a team. Who is the AC? Who is this last ACC team? Oh, Tennessee, obviously completed the SEC. Eastern Michigan. Ohio. Toledo as well. Who else can we knock out here? Michigan State, Maryland, Michigan, Nebraska, Northwestern, Michigan, Maryland, Michigan. Oh, who is this Big Ten team? This is not good at all. I need to know this Big Ten team. Ooh, sorry, knocked over some stuff on my desk. Oh, Big Ten and ACC schools. Conference USA is killing me as well. I have two teams there. I put UTSA, right? Yeah. Um. Oh, who are these schools? The worst team. Well, not the worst team anymore. Oh, Boston College, Minnesota. I've completed all the major conferences here: SEC, MAC, Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, Mountain West. Done the independents and the remnants of the Pac-12 as well. Let's see if I can knock out any of these other schools here. I did Army, Navy, and Air Force as well. Sam Houston, I believe, is one. Really? I already guessed Sam Houston? Apparently I did. Oh. Yeah, I don't have any of these other schools here. I said App State. Oh, Kennesaw State is another one. Oh, Marshall. Apparently I did have some more in me. Marshall, because I know Randy Moss went to Marshall. Is there any other absolute bag pulls that I can find here before I tap out, sadly? I don't believe so. Who'd I miss here? Florida International, Charlotte, East Carolina, Memphis, Tulsa, UAB. Fair enough. But I'm happy with these top ones right here. Next game, we are going to play some NFL games. First game that we're going to play is building a lineup. What do we choose here? I feel like Devontae Adams for 2 is a steal, first of all. And then JSN, the biggest game changer right there. That solves a lot of problems with those two. I feel like I have $8 left. If I go Dak Prescott, I got $2 left. Or I got $6 left, honestly. I could go. I could do a lot of different things here. I like Tucker Craft a lot. And I could just have an absolute. Yeah, I'm just going to have an absolute air raid of an offense. All right, let's do that. Not bad of a lineup right there. I like that. Dak at QB. Rico Dowdle isn't horrible, but then you're passing to Devontae Adams, JSN, and Tucker Craft, which is ridiculous. And then you have Demario Douglas and Hunter Henry. Drake May, I feel sorry for you. Not really. All right, next NFL game. We are going to guess the team based off of this defense. Interesting. You got an Oregon corner, an Alabama edge. 2 Cal safeties. Oregon corner. Only one that's coming to mind right now is the Patriots. And it was the Patriots. That is Christian Gonzalez. Of course it is. That is the only Oregon corner that I know. All right. The next team. Next NFL game that we are going to play. We are going to play some NFL Wordle. First player is going to be relatively young player from the AFC who's not a receiver. We'll go Herbert. So he's a quarterback on the Chargers. Wow. Okay. Who are the backups on the Chargers? Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Backups on the Chargers is something I don't know that I would be thinking about today. Definitely wasn't the first thing that came to mind when I woke up this morning. You got Herbert. Isn't Trey Lance on the Chargers? It is Trey Lance. That is a miracle. I did not know anybody on the Chargers. Wow, that is an absolute miracle of a pull right there. That is it for the NFL games. We are now going to do a couple of soccer games. I'm going to hide the photo. We're going to guess. First player, Bruno Fernandes. He's a midfielder. Who is younger. He's not Portuguese. He's not in the Prem. Pedri. Is he in La Liga? Nope. He's not in La Liga either. Is he... I want to guess Serie A. A midfielder. We'll go Weston McKennie. He's in the Serie A. He is older than 27. He's hovering between 27 and 31. He's not on Juventus, though. Interesting. McKennie. Who else do we have? He's not on Inter either. So he's 30 years old. He's a 30-year-old midfielder. Oh, this is gonna be hard. He's a 30-year-old midfielder in the Serie A who doesn't play for Inter, doesn't play for Juventus. McTominay? He's on Napoli. A 30-year-old midfielder on Napoli. Lozano left Napoli a while ago. De Bruyne is too old for that. Osimhen is a striker. He's not Italian. Who could this be? No, because Politano's a forward. Oh my goodness, who is this? Di Lorenzo is a defender. Only have 3 guesses left. Who are these midfielders on Napoli? I should know this. No. Oh, see. No, who's it wasn't Osimhen, it was I don't know if I'm spelling this right. It was Anguissa. I've done it. That is a miracle. I couldn't remember a Napoli midfielder to save my life, honestly. Alright, now we're gonna do a couple NBA games. We'll start off with a blind tier list on HoopGoat. The category is 2023 draft. Anthony Black is going to go tier 3 along with Brandon Miller. Pods put in tier 4. Wemby is S tier. There's no touching him. It's money there. Keontae George. Putting him in tier 3. Jordan Hawkins in tier 4. Bilal. Oh no. Anasar. Yuck. This is not good. Not bad. All right, let's choose a tier list. We'll do a tier list of MVPs. MVP Harden will put in tier 3. Kevin Garnett. Hot take tier 4. Shea will put in tier 3. Shaq. Tier AI will go tier 4. Derrick Rose also in tier 4. Michael Jordan, tier 1. David Robinson, tier 4. Tim Duncan, tier 3. KD, not bad. All right. Those are all. We'll stick to only 2 tier lists. We'll do a keep 4, cut 4. AK-47. I want to keep AK-47. Oh, Kobe Bryant. Oh no, this is not good. I already messed this up. Peja Stojakovic, out you get. I'm cooked. All right, out you get. Out you get. We're cutting Tim Duncan. That could have been so much worse. Not horrible. Not too bad. Not too bad. And then our last game is going to be a podal. We're going to guess the player. Always start off with my GOAT, Steph Curry. He's a guard in the East. Brunson, last time I got this in 2 turns. He's a guard for the Knicks. Is it Miles McBride that's on the Knicks? No, neither of them. No way they already upgraded it. It is Jose Alvarado. I'm too good at Podal. Like, you can't play with me on Podal. I'm too good at this. That was it for game time. Now we're going to look at some of the upcoming games around the world of sports. in the NBA, there are no major games except for the All-Star game on Sunday, February 15th at 5 p.m. So tune in for that if you want to. I will say the All-Star game hasn't been great the past couple years. They've been switching up the format. This year it's a world versus U.S. format, so we'll see how that goes. In the world of soccer, there are two major games that are interesting, both happening in the Italian Serie A. The first game is between Inter and Juventus at 2:45 Eastern on Saturday, February 14th. And then on Sunday, you have Napoli against Roma at 2:45 Eastern. So both of those have Champions League implications for those teams. So it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out with them. And then we go to the world of college hoops. There are a couple of good games in this weekend slate. The first one is number 20 Clemson against number 4 Duke, 12 p.m. on Saturday. And that's followed up by Kansas and Iowa State at 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then the final game on Saturday that I'm going to be watching is number 16 Texas Tech against number 1 Arizona. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a fun time. And then on Monday, we get a top 5 showdown between number 3 Houston and number 5 Iowa State at 9 p.m. So tune in to those college hoop games as we inch ever closer to the month of March and everything that means for college
leave a comment,
hoops.
all that good stuff. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast, comment on it. I'll attach polls to the Spotify episodes as well, so reply to those too, respond to those if you want for some more engagement on the social medias. I'm posting short form stuff, reels, all that stuff, so go and follow on the social medias as well. And I will talk to you all on Tuesday for the midweek news episode. Catch y'all later.